I'm delighted to be joined by Oisín Robbins. He is an actor, theatre maker, and the founder of Beluga Theatre. Oisín is also a member of Fragoli Theatre, based in Galway, and is the youth arts facilitator with Offaly Arts Office. He is partnering with the Town Hall Theatre Galway as part of Dublin Fringe Festival's Artist at Work programme. Welcome, Oisín. It's an absolute joy to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure to be here with you. Yeah.
So, Oisín, how did the Fringe approach you for the Artist at Work series, or did you apply for the programme?
Yeah, thankfully, one of the great things about what the Fringe do is that they have open call-outs, and they kind of, they throw their doors open to anyone who's really interested in making art around the country. So back in spring, I put together an application through my brand of theatre, Beluga Theatre. And with everything that's been going on over the last few months, they must have had many's a sit down trying to figure out how to program their festival. And then they got back to me a few months ago and came up with this new solution for some of the artists, which was the Artists at Work series. And it sounded like a fantastic opportunity for myself personally and for all the other artists involved to have a shot at making some theatre in this day and age.
Amazing. And can you tell us a little bit about the project that you're doing now for the Fringe?
Yeah, so the project I'm working on is called Project Skawman, which originates way over in Denmark. And Skawman is the Danish for a nickname called, so Skaw means wardrobe and man means man, Project Skawman. And I got the idea when I was visiting just on holidays in Denmark, and I found out about this person who lived his life as a hermit for the majority of his life. And I just started digging a little bit about it, and I found out that there was so many interesting facts about the way he lived his life. Yeah, so he wheeled his wardrobe down to a beach, and he set up his life there until pretty much the end of his life. And so it started off with just a wardrobe, and then he just built his whole life around it. And I just found it really interesting. I just find it really interesting to find out about people who decide to live differently from the mainstream, what we can learn from it about ourselves and about other people. And so I started trying to find out more about that and about the community around him and how they responded to that. So ultimately, I said I wanted to find out a bit more about this. So I applied for a Creative Europe open call last year called the iPertunnus program. And that was successful, the application. So they supported me to travel over there, where I got to find out a whole bunch of stuff about this Skawman and kick off the theatrical possibilities for what we could do with it.
Amazing. What was that research phase like, being in Denmark and finding out more about this really interesting man?
It was, to be honest, it was a brilliant opportunity and an even better experience. I got to partner with the local museum, Strua Museum they're called, and they were excellent in getting me just right to the heart of it. So they gave me a space to workshop ideas, test different things out, but also I had full access to all of their archives. So I was there going through the life of this person and the times that were around him. So he would have been alive in the first half of the 20th century. So I was finding out about his interactions with German soldiers who had arrived and built bunkers all around him. I'd find out about how he'd interact with children at the time, how members of the community would have been, first of all, fearful, or maybe would have vilified him, and then find out that maybe, that they found out he was actually a really interesting character that you could go down and have chats with. So when I was researching all this stuff, I was finding so many anecdotes and so much historical evidence from previous interviews that he would have had. And I just thought, this is so rich and so fascinating. And the museum were excellent at getting me in touch with people who had met him as children. So I was going around having interviews with people who had met the actual Skawman. And with Beluga Theatre, I have a focus on putting work on for young audiences. So they put me in touch with a school, and I'd go in and workshop some ideas with them, test some things out, hear their feedback on it. So it was a really rich exploration of one man's life, but also the interactions around. And I found out that there was so much scope to discover more, but I kind of got caught into historical research mode. So it was a socio-historical project, but I kind of had to remember and say, okay, I have to make a piece of art. Ultimately, you could get lost for years just trying to put information together with them. But there's only so much you can find out about one person. Like even I went to the graveyard where he was buried, and on the tombstone, it's written, "There are runes that no one can decipher," which was really reflective of this person. He was a bit of an enigma to people who lived at the time. They figured some things about him, just like myself. They wanted to figure out, why are you doing this? And what are your ideas? What's the motivation? Because he did this by choice. He chose to live differently by choice, not out of unfortunate circumstances. He just chose to live this way. And when I think about that, and I think about not only in Denmark, in Ireland, and around the world, there's so many examples of people who choose to live like that, and to have an actual example of someone who had such an interest in life, and to have the resources to try and explore that for a bit, all the way over in beautiful Denmark. It was a great privilege. And
wow, Oisín, I totally see why you were drawn to that story. Skawman sounds like such a character and such a brilliant impetus for a show. And it sounds like you were living the artist's dream over there in Denmark, with your space and the museum. Oh my goodness! So what does the Fringe's support mean for the project at this stage then?
It gives it exactly what it needs to continue. So I finished that step in Denmark with a public presentation in the museum, which was great. I had all these people come to it, feedback, comment on the process. And the main thing I got out of it was that they wanted to see more. So they wanted to know more, which is a great type of feedback to get. So I came back and I contacted the Pavilion Theatre, which had put out an open call out for their Studio Space Award. And I was lucky enough to get that award, and I'll be able to put some ideas into play in November of this year. But in the meantime, I just basically need the time and space to kind of put all of these ideas and this endless information and resources into something where I can decide what the narrative should be, what the style of performance should be. And so what the Fringe have come in and helped with, which is monumental for the place the position is in and the project is in, is to explore this idea. So they've partnered me with the Town Hall Theatre in Galway, which I've worked with many times with before, and I have a great connection with them, which is lovely. And so, yeah, they've set up this support of time and space for a week during the Fringe to find out what this piece should be.
And do you feel that the show will be for children, or do you feel like it might be for adults, or have you yet to discover that yourself?
Yeah, it's a funny one because it can go many ways, and I can visualize it as a really engaging show for young audiences, where I can, where there can be a lot of there's a lot of it in it basically for young audiences. But then if I workshop it and then we figure out, well, actually this piece needs to be for a totally different type of audience, I kind of want to see where it goes without putting too many parameters on it. But I am kind of shifting between two different lanes because I do want to create work for young audiences. So it could end up splitting and then reconnecting as it's developing for two different audiences in mind. Because I was due to put a version of the piece on in the Galway Theatre Festival, and that would have been for young audiences. But as I was chatting with them, that was going to be called The Little Beach House. But Project Skawman is kind of like an umbrella term for all of these possibilities. And the name I'm given to the residency in the town hall with the Fringe Festival is My Wardrobe is My Home. And we're just going to take the leash off and see where it wants to go and go from there.
That's definitely a good hook title. I'd definitely go to see a play with a name like that. So yeah. Very clever.
Oh, great.
So yeah, definitely. Where will it be then, Oisín? Where can people go to see this?
The show itself.
Yes.
So at the moment with the Fringe, with their Artists at Work series, they've given myself and the town hall like a lot of freedom to decide how to go about it, how to interact and engage with potential audiences. So at the moment, the first step will be to sit down with the town hall and see what's possible for them and what they'd like to do, and figure out what's best. So we'll have a lot of engagement online. We're discovering all of the ways we can engage with people online until it's possible to meet together in the same space again. But yeah, that's something that still needs to be decided with the Fringe and with the town hall. But I'll be operating out of the town hall theatre, and from there, yeah, we'll try our best to keep audiences and keep the general public in the loop with what's going on with the project.
Brilliant. So what are the next steps then for the project?
So hopefully this will be able to clarify some of the ideas that are going on and to focus it into something that's kind of ready to go into a production or a more focused development phase. And that's where it's great to have the Pavilion, who partner with the town hall and their networks. So they would be in contact a lot, which is great, and keep them in the loop. And then in November, we'll have a week to test whatever ideas have been found from the Fringe's residency. And then after that, I think it might be time to just roll up the sleeves and get into a production. But, you know, it's kind of hard to figure out how exactly that's going to go with everything that's going on. But hopefully we'll have a strong enough idea for what the rehearsal phase would be. And then it's all about, yeah, going into production phase. But a lot to be decided still. A lot of stuff still up in the air for that.
Oh, so exciting, Oisín. I suppose to finish off, would you have any advice for any artists that, you know, want to make work at the moment and don't know how? Because obviously you are there, you're doing it, you're making work, and successfully so. So what would you say to those artists who are feeling a little bit troubled at the moment?
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? It's really hard to figure out what to do when the conventional and the kind of routes we're used to are kind of blocked off from us. For me, something that's really been helpful is connect with people. I've found that a lot of people have loads of ideas and they have the enthusiasm and the will to put stuff on. I'm currently working with artists based in Singapore and Korea on a project called Borders, which is for young audiences. And the Borders team puts into play what are our borders, whether they're geographical, physical, but also the borders that yourself and I have through this technology. And
Yes.
what was really needed for this was the appetite to do it. So like I'm able to connect with people halfway across the world. And it's been really great for me because I'm learning from their skills, I'm learning from their ideas, totally different perspectives. So I think reach out with people, and what the advice, I suppose the advice is what I'm kind of into doing myself, and what I'm discovering is reach out to people. Like let's say in the theatre for young audiences world, there are so many great examples of companies that are putting stuff into play. You have Branner in Galway, who have kept plodding away. You have Barbaro Arts Festival, who are still putting ideas together and still have a festival. And they're really accessible people, and they want theatre to thrive in regular times, but to survive in these times. So I think get on the phone, put an email together and find out who wants to meet you and keep exploring.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lovely, lovely answer and very inspiring. I can't think of a lovelier note to finish our chat on, Oisín. That was just really fabulous. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I wish you all the best with the project. It sounds really fascinating, and I can't wait to see what it turns out like. And whether I'll be going with my little son or whether I'll be going with my husband on a date to the theatre, I don't know. Or maybe both if it does split off.
Yeah.
You know?
If it's good, then you'll all be there, and then you'll know if it's not. Maybe the one of you shouldn't be there. So yeah, definitely. Let's aim for the last version of it. Definitely, yeah.
Okay, brilliant, fantastic. Thank you so much, Oisín. Take care.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be on here. So thanks for having me, and I'll see you again soon, I hope.